All right. All right. Hey, ladies. Hello, hello, hello. It is Saturday. It's Successful Women in Business Saturdays. I'm going to wait until you ladies get on. Get on this live today. Hey, Brittany. Hey, girl. How are you? I was actually thinking about you today because I was thinking of a future coffee and conversation that I want to talk to you about. I hope everything is going okay over there with you in California. Hey, ladies. I'm just waiting for more ladies to get on. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm super excited about today's topic. Yes, Brittany. Yes, we need you back on live. I got a real good topic that I want to talk to you about. Hey, ladies. All right. Today we have LaQuanta Pikes. She's going to be here for Successful Women in Business Saturday. She is from Louisiana. She is a daycare owner. She is a mother of 3. She has 2 boys and 1 girl. She trades in Forex, and her biggest thing right now is helping women with mental health. Like we've been saying since we started, we've all been through a lot, not just last year, but in our life, right? And so she wants to encourage and uplift women who feel powerless to become powerful. So I'm so excited to have LaQuanta on tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on to the live. Hey, Natalia. Hey, Katie. Hey, guys. Thank y'all for joining this Saturday night. Thank y'all so much. So I met LaQuanta when I was doing direct sales. I was in California, and we ended up sitting next to each other, and we ended up connecting and talking. So you never know who you may meet, that in the future things will come full circle and you'll end up working together. You never know. Because I don't believe that God has people to meet people just because. And I think that we should build the relationships that we have with other women. Let's see here. Let's get her on the live tonight. Oh, that's not it. L-A. Oh, I think that's her. There she go. There she go. I hope y'all having a good Saturday. Katie, we worked out week. I feel good.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, LaQuanta, how are you?
How's it going?
Thank you for showing up tonight for the live. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Okay.
So I was just telling them about how we met, where we met in California at we were with a direct sales company, and we ended up sitting right next to each other and was just chatting it up, and how important it is to just build those relationships with women that you meet along the way in life, because you never know when everything will come back full circle.
Right. And that was an amazing time, because I think you was with your sister, right? It was all 3 of us, and we had met Les Brown, and it was just an amazing experience, because I had told you, remember, I had put in my book that I was gonna meet Les Brown. It happened less than 6 months, so like that was an amazing experience. Period.
Yes, I forgot we met Les Brown that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That was a good 3 days.
that
That was
was
a good three
that was
days.
3 days. It
And we
was.
did a lot of personal development during those days.
Yes, we did. So like you say, you never know who may cross your path, who you may meet that can change your life. So I have grown a lot since those years, and I'm just amazed by it all because that was actually my first year on my entrepreneur journey. So like it was just crazy.
Aw. Well, it was. Um, I think back then you were pregnant with your son back then. So tell us more about your family
Oh my
structure. Tell
God.
us more about you.
Okay. So when I back then it was 2016, Baton Rouge had just flooded. I had decided to quit my job because it was either quit or get fired, and I had lost my car in the flood. So I was pregnant with twins at the time. Didn't know because I ended up losing one, and I was so stressed out. I was depressed. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to work for nobody. And I didn't know how that was going to work out. But I just went off on fate, really, because when the flood happened, the whole house was flooded. The water was at the top. It didn't flood the house, but it was right there. So I ended up calling my job, telling them I'm quitting because my job was all the way on the other side of town. And I just went full into entrepreneurship, not knowing what it was gonna be like because I had more downfalls than up. I started learning more about myself. I started battling with mentally a lot of problems within myself. And even though I was pregnant, I was upset, angry, fighting all the time. Like I was going through it and not knowing what was going on with me. I kept running away from it because one of the things I learned when I started my journey was stories change lives, and I did not want to share my story. I was embarrassed about it. I was ashamed of it, and it didn't happen until last year I started sharing my story. It took me that long to share my story because I was so ashamed of it. It was so dark, and I just wasn't ready. So fast forward when Clubhouse came out, it was like 3 in the morning. I was going through my little intertwines because I'm already going to therapy and I'm already doing the healing, journaling, and things like that. I got on Clubhouse one night and I went into this mental health space. And something in my mind, something in my head say, okay, it's time to get up. It's time to get up. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm arguing back and forth with myself. Like, I'm not doing it. And this lady named Dr. Ross sent me a badge. Like, okay, Quanta, I want to hear what you got to say. Something telling me you need to talk. Share your story. And it was hard. I cried when I shared that story. It was so hard. It was over 80 people in the room. And I didn't know how to just open up, but I did it, and that was a big relief for me. So um I come from a big family. We all from New Orleans. My mom is a product of a rapist. She was raped 3 times. My grandmother was raped 6 times, and um it really molded her in a way of how she raised me and my siblings. So it played a big effect on my life because of the way she brought us up. And I never understood it until I got older, why she did the certain things she did, but she didn't understand that affected me because at an early age, 13, I was only 13, I was fighting all the time, fighting my aunties every day because I had an auntie that was prostituting herself because she was molested and we didn't know, and she was taking it out on me. So I had to go up fast. I had to protect my sister at all times because my mama wasn't there. She was kicked out the house. She was homeless for 2 years, and I had to look out for her. So my mama didn't know half the things that was going on in that household, and she was trying to figure out why I was always so angry. But it was because my grandmother didn't make me feel protected. She used to always let her daughter do things to me and never offended me. So we was always battering back to back, fighting, all the way up till I was 21. So
Wow.
being on since all this happened in 2020 for us Clubhouse coming out, that was my breakthrough. Me sharing that story, hearing those women crying, and I didn't, I was just like, wow, I didn't see no light into that. People in my inbox telling me, thank you. Could you just share it? At first, I couldn't. It took me years to share it. And the reason why it's so important to me, because it all goes back to mental health.
Yeah.
And I ran away from that. I was ashamed of that because my grandmother told me I was too blunt. I was too honest. Some things you shouldn't share. But my mom always taught me to be honest, to be respectful, just be open, because you want to be your authentic self at all times. You don't want to act like people walking around here acting like someone else because they don't think somebody will accept them. I'm not doing that because my mom always told me to be myself. Yes, she had her own problems, and I probably was, the mother most times, but me and my mom have a beautiful relationship. Now that I understand her better, and now that she's getting the help, it helps me understand why she's the way she is. But now she's seeking the help. And I'm more happier now because now that I'm dealing with it, I've been in therapy for about 9 months now.
Really good. That's
I'm
really good.
I'm a survivor of domestic. I've been in abusive relationships, but after one after another. But after having my daughter, that was my reset. Like after what her dad tried to do a few months ago, she was my reset. I seen her walking before she was walked when we was getting into these fights and things, and that's how I started my daycare, because I had to let him go. And we have women out here that's in relationships that's probably not the breadwinner, that's probably staying home. And that was me. For the first time, I had to depend on him because I got pregnant, lost my job, lost my house in 3 months, got in a car wreck, and I had to depend on him. And I didn't know how I was going to do that because I wasn't used to that. My mama always told me, if a man leave the house, you have to be sure that you can take care of yourself. If he leave this house, can you take care of yourself? So that's something that always stuck with me. And for the first time I had to rely on him, that was hard. I don't see how women do it. I don't see how they can just rely on a man. Yes, it's a plus, but with the type of man I was dealing with, it was more of a control thing. Like, he wanted power. If I didn't do something, he wasn't giving it to me. And I couldn't live with that. I couldn't let my daughter see that. So the fact that there was going on in the pandemic, because it got so bad, it's like the minute we moved into our new house that we got in, the door shut, and I found somebody else. I met somebody new, because we was together for about a year and a half, and we didn't stay together. We didn't move together until we had our daughter. So I started to get to know him really when we got into a house together. That's when I got to know him for sure. And so that's why I'm really big on mental health. And I started, focusing on myself because I realized I was emotionally scarred. I never dealt with the problems as a child I was running away from. And I finally started going to therapy. And I went to therapy before we broke up. I tried to work on it. But it's like the more I went to therapy, the more I prayed to God, because I was doing Bible study 3 days a week. The more I prayed, the more he kept attacking me. We was always arguing for nothing. I didn't ever understand it. So I just prayed to God to just remove everything from me, and not knowing that he was one of them. I was scared. I was so scared. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now? How am I gonna make some money? And that's when the daycare came. I already wanted to homeschool my children. That was always the dream, to homeschool my kids and travel. And COVID made me push myself even more to get out there. So now I homeschool my children, and I run an in-house daycare called Little Rascals. And it's been going great. But, I have my days when it's up and down, but I've never been at peace and so happy like I am now. Even though we got all this going on, I've never been at peace with myself. I've never been so content and free, like literally. So I'm in a really good space right now.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your story. That's a lot for you to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I couldn't imagine having to go through all that. So thank you for your courage to be able to share that. And that I can see your why you go so hard now. I can see your reason
Mm-hmm.
why. And most people, they don't understand when you're a female and you're an entrepreneur, people don't understand why you go so hard. But it's always a story attached to the reason why you go so hard, you know? And one of the things that you also do outside of the daycare is that you learn to invest in the foreign exchange market. Could you
Right.
tell us more about that?
Okay, so about a year ago, about around the time I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I
Mhm.
decided to study trading. I always wanted to get into it where it was currency. Like I'm fascinated with numbers. So I always wanted to know what is it. So I was introduced to it about a year ago with IML, and I got my feet wet a little bit, and I pulled away from it for a while, but I got back into it because the reason why I feel like investing is very important is because one of the things that the schools don't teach us is how to make money. They teach us how to be employees, but they never taught us how to invest within ourselves. So one of the things I learned was when it comes to people want to learn something, they have to invest something, they get very offensive because like, well, why I gotta pay for it? But the way I look at it and what I learned is when you invest in yourself, maybe that's when you're going to take it more seriously. So when it comes to investing, it's very important for me because no, I was the first to go to college. I was the first to finish high school. Everyone in my family dropped out in 6th or 7th grade. So I don't want to repeat that pattern. I don't want my children doing that. I have 2 boys, so it's very important because either they're my cousins or my in-laws. They either in the streets or they're dead, and most of them are dead. They was living the street life. I do not want my sons to go through that. I don't want them to experience what I experienced. And I have a 10-year-old that's experienced that because about a year ago, he was at the house and my cousin got shot in front of my grandmother's house, and he was there. He was in the house. He didn't see him, so it's very important to me because he's always talking about money, like, Ma, what is this? What is an investor? Like, how can I do this? And he was around that with my cousin. They was very close. And I don't know the things he shared with him, but now that he's coming to me, asking me these questions, I want to show him the right way. I don't want him thinking, oh, that's the street light is a nice thing, because he's young, he's 10, and he has been in moments where children that's playing with little BB guns and stuff that introduce into it, like, it's a lot. So investing, you want to leave something for your children. You don't want to be working a job because any day you could lose that job. You want to be able to have something where they can remember you by. So I feel like investing is very important because you're educating your children. There's things that they don't want us to know. Like, if you don't pick up a book, like, you would never know. And reading is very fundamental. And I tell my son this all the time because he's a child of color. He already have a problem because he's black. So that's why it's very important for me, because I have 2 boys that I worry about every day. And so I invest so much within myself and learn so much about financial literacy because I'm going to teach my children. I'm teaching them now. My son is 3, my son is 10. I'm teaching them now about trading. I'm teaching them everything I know. I'm sharing with them because I didn't get that. My mom didn't know that. She only knew what her mom could show her. She only knew what her mom only experienced. And I'm also teaching my mom because, like, I feel like we need to do better. What we don't know, once we understand what investing is and how to invest and what the difference between the two, then I think it'll make us go further if we just focus on it. Because at the end of the day, whatever we put our mind to, we can do it. But it's all up to us at the end of the day. It's a mental thing, really. So I think investing is very important, no matter what the cost is.
And I think, like you mentioned about that learning piece, right? Because we're so afraid to learn. Oh, it's so hard. I don't understand the charts and what does this mean and that mean. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about taking that time and giving yourself grace,
Right.
right? And it's going to take patience to learn a new skill set, right? Hey, mama, she is the cutest. Oh my gosh, she is the cutest.
Thank you. No, hammer.
So I love what you're doing by helping other women, teaching them about the foreign exchange market
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to invest. I love that. You love it too? She's like, yep, I love it. She said, yes, I love it too. So since the baby is here, as a mom, right? As a mom, when is it that you get time to take care of yourself? When is your time for you? Because you're an investor, you're a mother, and also you're a daycare owner. So when do you take time for your self-care time?
My self-care time, so I have a routine that a normal routine between 4:45 and 7. That's my time. I meditate. I start my day off with reading my word, because how you start your day is how you're gonna start in your day. So I think that's very important how you start it. I also work out. So I work out pretty early, because if I don't, I'm not gonna get it in. I have to work out. Um, I find it when I have a routine that I can do self-care and just focus on me and meditate and just have that quiet time, because in the morning they still sleep, so it's very quiet. Yes, it was hard at first, but the more I got into it, the easier it became. So between 4 and 7, that's my time. I focus on me. I journal. I have a positive journal. I have a negative journal. I write it all out, and I have a gratitude list, and I have a future gratitude list. Like, I really like sit there and just practice balancing my meditation. And sometimes I do silent meditation. Sometimes I do focus. It all depends on how I'm feeling in that moment. But that's the time I use for myself. And I do this 7 days a week. I don't just do it Monday through Friday. I do it 7 days a week, because I notice when I do that, I'm more balanced. When I don't, I'm all over the place. So it can be very hard sometimes, especially with 3 children. But I have my days, but I have learned that my schedule of how I schedule my routine, it has been very helpful, and I'm able to complete a lot of tasks throughout the day. I'm not all over the place. So I think having a schedule, especially with children, having that structure is very important. And is it easy? No, because there's days I don't want to do it. There's days I don't even want to get up in the morning, but I still do it.
That's good. And I think that a lot of women struggle with that balance piece, and having, like you said, having a schedule and a routine, and taking that morning time
Mm-hmm.
or that night time for yourself to be able to, like you said, exercise,
Mm-hmm.
meditate,
Mm-hmm.
read your devotionals, journal, because that is that time specifically dedicated to you, specifically dedicated to you and God, and
Mm-hmm.
you deserve that time. It's a lot
Right.
that go on throughout the day.
It is. It
Some
is.
stuff that you're not in control of, but you're in control of taking an hour or 2 hours, blocking that off just for you.
Yeah.
And I be seeing you. I be seeing you on Facebook working out. I be seeing you. I be like, look at LaQuanta. She working out right now.
Yeah. And I know, well, I'm in this workout community, Kiara Lachey, where they have the hip hop. I used to dance, so I love dancing. So that's why I started doing that with Kiara Lachey. But it's amazing because the community is very supportive, and it's really fun. So you're not doing it by yourself, but it's really fun with the music. You can really get back into your groove. So I advise whoever looking for workout programs, definitely check out, because she's amazing.
And
So.
also, one of the other things is that you're going to be starting a mental health group. Can you tell us more about that group and why that came about?
Okay, so I've been doing some of you, if anybody on here know what Clubhouse is, I've been moderating rooms. After sharing my story and always going in those rooms and being a help to other people. Um, Brian and Dr. Wash and Rico, them that I met, they had offered me to, start moderating rooms. So it became something very personal for me, because I know the experience I went through and how it really helped in me. So we gave people a space to come in those rooms and, just talk or let it all out, cry, whatever it is. And it doesn't matter if it was men or women or young adults, they felt comfortable. Like we used to do it on a regular basis, but now we do it on Wednesdays and Sundays at 10 o'clock Central Time. We basically just use those rooms to help other people. So the reason why it's so important for me is because I feel like we're in a devastating time. A lot of people have lost loved ones, um, lost their jobs, probably lost their homes, lost their cars, and they really battling with some things right now. They're probably not sharing it with you. I know I was one of those people that when I'm going through something, I used to isolate myself a lot. Don't talk to nobody because I didn't want it to, my issues to reflect them. So I think it's very important that you talk about it because our mental health can give us suicidal thoughts. It can make us do things that we normally wouldn't do. It can make us overreact. It could do a lot of things, and it's very important because if we're not healthy mentally, how can we do anything else? We're always negative. We're not positive, and that can reflect on your children. So I think it's very important that we work on ourselves mentally. That's a consistent thing because we have to unlearn to relearn and really educate ourselves every day. So I think it's just very important. So that's why I wanted to start the mental space for women in particular, because I'm very sensitive when it comes to women because we have so many hats and we go through so many things. And I think it's just so important because I don't think people understand like the things we go through. And they say we are emotional roller coaster. We always mad. No, like we supposed to nurture, but we have so many things going on within ourselves. We want somebody to nurture us sometimes. Make us like we could just let down a little bit. And I don't think people understand that. So I think it's very important that this group was created because I want to give women a space to talk about their problems. So just let it go, because if you don't let it go, it's going to eat you up inside and you're going to always be angry, upset, not happy. And I know because that was me. Like I was always angry. You could say one thing, I'm quick. I'm to 100 real quick. That's why I created the group. That's why I wanted to start the group, because I wanted to connect with other women and just let down where we can accept each other, not judge at all. So.
And I love that. And that's another reason why we started Pretty Ladies with Ambition. Women supporting each other, uplifting each other, encouraging each other, in every area of their lives. And one of the things that I like that you talked about yesterday when we were talking about is the journals. I think that you said it was a forgiveness letter. Like that's like
I think everyone should write about that. Oh man. I just wrote, to be honest, I wrote my forgiveness letter to myself 5 months ago. 5 months ago. It took me all this time from a teenager to write that letter, because I feel like when you write to yourself and you write a letter to yourself, forgiving yourself and stop blaming yourself, that's when you really being honest with yourself. You can't lie about it. And I cried when I wrote that letter. It took me an hour to write that letter, because I was so angry with myself. I blamed myself for everything I went through. I was mad because I had these things instilled in me from my grandmother that, the reason why I am the way I am because of me, because that's what she was saying. Like, she used to blame me for it. But as I got older and now that I'm a mother myself, I realized it wasn't my fault, but now it's my responsibility to change that. So I had to write a letter to myself. I wrote it. It took a while, but I felt so much relief. Like all the weight just fell off and I burnt it and I threw it away. And I think that's the first thing we need to do is write a letter to ourselves about why we're so angry and dig deep and go. And if it's a trauma that happened when you was younger, you need to go back and say, what would you say to that little person that you were 20 years ago or 10 years ago, or however old you is right now? What would you say to her or him right now? You need to forgive yourself. You need to really let go and let God, because if you don't, you could never press forward. And we so quick. A lot of us say we have faith in everything, but if you look at it, a lot of us say we have faith, but we have so much faith. Why are we so afraid to let go? Because I feel like at the end of the day, when we have these certain things about ourselves and we don't want to let go of that identity. You don't want to learn a new identity. There's another person on the other side. You don't want to learn a new identity. You want to keep holding on to the old one. What's the new story? Like, we need to talk about it, break it down, figure it out, let it go, build ourselves back up, and figure out what's the new story. What's your new story? Because we don't need that old story. Yeah, we have a past, but what's gonna be the new story now? Are we gonna still live like that? Or are we gonna keep pressing forward? Because we can't keep holding on, blaming the next person. It's up to you now what you want. So I think it's very important.
Absolutely. And I love that you said we are creating a new story. I believe during this pandemic, that's what God is doing for all of us. He's creating a whole new earth, a whole new system, a whole new way of living. And now it's up to us after he has just rebirthed us all. He rebirthed everybody at the same time.
He did. And I don't think people realize that. I started noticing that early on when I decided to get really focused and serious about my spiritual healing. Like, everything he said that was going to happen is happening right now. And I don't think a lot of people are seeing it. He said there was going to be shortage of food. It's happening nationwide. He said that. He said it was going to be a pandemic. He didn't say what kind of pandemic, but it's happening nationwide. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm seeing all these things because now that I'm focused and my mind more clear, I can see what he's been trying to show me. And it's been a journey, because there's days when I'm like, I'll be angry, I'll be fussing with, like, why, mad because I didn't know and I just wasn't paying attention. But as I get clear on my vision, I'm starting to see a lot of stuff. So it's amazing. I can only imagine what's gonna happen in the next 6 months with this world. But I just hope everybody wake up, because a lot of people are sleeping right now.
Yeah. And God has so much in store for each and every one of us. Right. So I want to thank you so much, LaQuanta, for coming on here and being so vulnerable.
Yes.
Being so vulnerable.
I want to thank you, because it's a part of my healing. I have to be, because I want other women to know they're not by themselves. So it's very important for me to just share my story. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. Like, I want other women to be able to step up and not be ashamed of it. Don't worry about what the other person think. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, you got to satisfy God, not them. And you need to satisfy yourself. You're not going to be able to make everybody happy. So, like, I'm just happy you brought me on here. I'm happy you gave me this opportunity. And I'm just grateful, to be honest. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, ladies. We're going to post some links after to LaQuanta's mental health group. You can also follow her on Instagram and Facebook, and we're going to post those links there if you want to learn more about her Forex trading. Hey, Angel. Hey, Jamise. Hey, Felicia.
I'm working on the mental health group, because I'm working on it. I have started it. So they could request, but it should be up this week, definitely. But I'm still putting stuff in there.
Okay, so they can request a group, and next week she'll admit everybody. Once you get everything that she wants in the group, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Hey, Miss Jerlyn. Miss Jerlyn said that she say Baton Rouge. That's my hometown. Okay. Yeah, she said Baton Rouge. Okay.
Yeah, I stay in Baton Rouge.
I love Louisiana. Oh my gosh, I love Louisiana. Hey, Katie. Hey, Natalia. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Brittany. Both Brittany's on tonight. All right, ladies. Y'all have a blessed Saturday. I'll see y'all in the morning for coffee and conversation. Bye.
Bye.